Just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, Chris Blodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday. The topic for this episode is going to be, are you happy with and do you trust those that you work with or work for? This is episode 104. Once again, guys, welcome. Appreciate you being here. So, welcome to this, you could call it a bonus Real Talk Tuesday episode, even though, yes, these are not going to, I understand, these are not, obviously, these weren't posted on Tuesday, so I apologize about that, but they were meant to, and so it's kind of like what I mentioned in the bonus episode was mainly that I figured, been kind of slacking quite a bit, been dealing with a lot of stuff, and I wanted to basically do kind of an episode dump, give you guys a little bit extra than I normally would each week, since I know usually it's a Real Talk and the Storytime Friday, and then for a couple weeks it was just getting a Real Talk, and so for this week I thought I would do 3 back-to-back episodes all on the same day to give you guys some stuff. So for 1 week, it was part of it was why I didn't do anything posted that week was my podcast hosting came due, and of course, with some of the things I've been dealing with, it's kind of been, that was one of the things I was like, I had to wait until the end of that week to get that paid, and so when it's temporarily suspended, I can't upload an episode. So I had the episode that you guys heard previous to this one that I had technically recorded, but then the night before I was going to upload it, it was like Monday night. I couldn't do it because Monday night I was like, your podcast has been suspended because non-payment. Please get your payment in. I'm like, crap. And I was broke. I didn't have the money to actually pay the bill or whatever, so I had to wait until I got paid again to pay it. So, and I meant to mention in that bonus episode as well, part of what I forgot as far as like the different promotions. Anybody that as that's the thing, like podcasts, obviously in order to keep shows active and stuff, there's expenses that we gotta take care of and stuff. So if anybody wants to support the show, go to blodgettshow.com/support, and just go ahead and anything helps, whether it's $1 one time or $1 per month, $5 per month. That gives you the option to do a one-time monetary donation or contribution, or to give you a couple. So every little bit will help. Trying to continue to grow this podcast and make plans for it, but obviously it's gonna. For while I'm out here doing what I'm doing and working on things on the side, like obviously the podcast, the entrepreneurial, the online business stuff, and the book writing. You know, with my current schedule, and obviously I do the best I can, and some weeks are better than others. You know. So anyway, on with the show. But the inspiration for this topic has kind of been like, as you guys noticed in that bonus episode, I would talk a little bit about it, but then I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to say too much because this kind of been, that was because I already had in mind to have that be, you know, as far as the do you trust those you work with or work for, kind of be tonight's, you know, topic of discussion kind of. So the reason for that is, like I said, now I don't have to hold back because, you know, that's tonight's topic. So, back when you know, and I think I've told you guys this before, but back in March when me and my daughter came back, and we had brought the car from my parents' house and stuff like that. I came back here having worked my regular route going to Farina, Illinois and back. And, you know, I've been over a year, and I'd basically been the Farina guy. My boss had even referred to me with FedEx, like, yeah, Chris, like Blodgett is the Farina guy. Like, he's the one that runs that route. I'm like, yeah. You know, that's what I got hired on. That's what I've been doing. Came back in March after doing, you know, going out of state, coming back, and all of a sudden it changed. Like, oh, well, this is happening, and that's happening, and the load got moved to 9 a.m., and you're a night guy, and I can't move you to mornings, because I said I would, if it really was leaving at 9 a.m., I would do it. You know, like, I would pivot and change my schedule and come in earlier if I need to. That's fine. You know, he's like, no, you're a night driver, and I don't want to, like, I got to keep you on nights or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but, like, that's my route. Like, I don't want to not be doing my route. But, so for a while, I would basically lose days each week. And, you know, because I'd have one day where they wouldn't have any loads, so I'd just be sitting at home drinking extra, because I usually enjoy adult beverages on my days off. But during the week, I would go, if I'm not working, I would, you know, well, screw it, I'm not working, so I'm gonna crack a couple of drinks open, have some more margarita mix, couple beers, whatever. So not exactly the healthiest situation, because drinking extra instead of just drinking my 2 days off, having a couple drinks on the days during the week when I would not be working. So there are quite a few of those days where my wife would, of course, be, you know, not really biting my head off, but, you know, like harping on me quite a bit, talking about like this is bullshit, you need to talk to him. And I'm like, I'm trying to, but I'm basically I'm being told this, I'm being told that. It was all in the part of what goes with the do you trust those you work for? And I don't blame the higher ups, because they're not the ones that are basically, because, you know, they're not the one managing the loads. My manager, who I call my boss, and his assistant, you know. So it's Jimmy and John, you know, it's like, Jimmy's my boss, John's his assistant, and one of the other drivers that, you know. But for whatever reason, most weeks, the past 4 or 5 months, John's been running my route, or sometimes it's another guy named James, or, you know, random other guys, while he's still having me run these night runs where I've been working all night instead of coming in at like 2 or 3. Or when I was running Farina, I was starting at 5, and I would still be getting back at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, get home by 4, go to sleep, be able to get up, have a little while in the afternoon before coming back into work again. And that changed for whatever, I don't know what changed, because I know by whenever I've run the route, they want us to leave between 2 and 3 now, so it's not 5, but it's not 9 a.m. like what my boss insists. Well, it's 9 a.m. It's a morning shift down. So lately, for quite a few months, I was basically running these night runs. I was complaining, saying, look, I'm losing like a day here, a day there. Like, my paycheck sucks. I'm falling behind on bills because I'm not making as much as I was before. I really don't want to leave, but this is bullshit. You know, I promise, like, I was getting told a lot, like, oh, I'm planning to have you back at Farina full time, you know, because it's going back to an afternoon shift or whatever. I was like, huh, okay. And then I would run Farina a day or 2 here, and like the team would tell me, No, we've been meeting. We leave at like John leaves between 2 and 3, and we meet at like 7. So it's not like it's a little bit earlier than it was before, but it's not like, you know, because if we were to leave at like 9, it's a 4-hour trip. So that would mean that they'd be getting there at like 2 in the afternoon, and then I'd be getting back home at like 6 or 7 at night, which would be pretty interesting, you know. But for whatever reason, I'm being told one thing, you know, and it's like, oh, you're gonna be back on it on such and such date, or you're gonna be back on it on this date, you're gonna be back on. I mean, it's probably been like at least 10 different date changes. Like, hey, you're gonna be back at like it's gonna be full time. You're gonna be back at Farina like middle of May. Oh, you're gonna be back at Farina June 1st. Oh, it's June 10th through the 17th. You know, and oh, actually, it's it's early July, whatever. And then like, you know, we went out of town and we came back, and of course, like I think I was on Farina a few days, and then I was back to do night runs again. And you know, and I near the end of July, I finally asked him because I was kind of I'm trying to be that, you know, kind of squeaky wheel, but be the, you know, try to be respectful and try not to. I'm not going to try to start a fight. You know, even though I'll argue with them saying, that's my run, you hired me for that run. Oh no, I didn't hire you for that run, that was just one of the runs that was available. I'm like, no, Jimmy, like, you literally, when I was talking to you about coming on with FedEx as a dedicated line haul driver, you gave me a couple of options, and Farina was one of those options. I said, I'll take that one. And now you have a John running, and you're putting me on it every so often for a couple of days, and then I'm back on the night shit, losing miles, you know, making less, you know. Been looking at other jobs for the past 4 or 5 months, just kind of keeping an eye out, because I'm one of those, I'm not going to just make a switch unless I find something that makes a lot of sense. It's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing on the side, because I don't want to just up and leave and start a new job, living here, like, you know, and stay here where we're staying, because I would like a full change of scenery, if that makes sense. You know, I want to get we've been renters for like the past 17, 18 years that we've been together, and our dream for a while has been to get our own house. But credit-wise, kind of sucks. So it's like, you know, that's my goal, working on things on the side with the intent to get us to that point to where we can actually, you know, get approved for a mortgage, and then like literally we can decide, hey, we're approved for a mortgage, where do we want to move, and probably move to like Kansas or something. Because I told my wife, I said, I love living here in Nashville, I love being in Tennessee. I said, but there's a handful of reasons that I would love to just up and leave and go start fresh somewhere else. You know, like I would still stay with FedEx, but I would start with find a different contractor in another state that from a different hub that is looking for drivers, and basically just make a complete switch. You know, get a new job with a contractor, a new hub, and a new state, and basically get us into a house, so we all have a fresh start. We all get into a house. You know, me being a brand new job, my wife being able to get hopefully into something better. You know, be happier or whatever. I don't want to just stay here and get a new job and still be renting in the apartment complex that we wanted to get out of for the past couple of years at least, you know. So, but where the trust aspect comes in is all the times that I've been told, oh yeah, it's gonna be this day, it's gonna be that day. There's always a reason. There's always, like, my wife, she's so annoyed, you know, when I tell her the newest thing that my boss tells me, like, yeah, Jimmy, why are you, like, what's going on? I, like, recently, within the past week, I had said, like, because I did 3 days, I had 2 weeks where I did, like, in 1 week I did 2 days doing Farina, then I was back on doing, like, what I'm doing right now, late night East Chattanooga run. And then the next week I did three days on the Farina, and then the last 2 days I was working these, you know, night shifts again. Sometimes getting done at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I, you know, one of the days I woke up after doing Farina 3 days in a row, and was then all of a sudden I was like, so what's going on? And he's like, oh, you're doing Chattanooga tonight. I'm like, all right. So I have a question, like, what the fuck's the deal? Like, what's going on? Like, why, you know, you've been telling me for months I'm gonna be full time on Farina. What's going on? And it, you know, now that well, you know, cause it's such and such with the contracts, you know, like August, like, or the like the dedicated runs have to make sure that those is covered. I'm like, yeah, but Farina's dedicated. Well, it's a temporary dedicated. I'm like, it's been going for years. Like, we've been on that run for a couple years now, and whenever I pulled off it for a little bit, it's always, well, it's temporary. We're not even supposed to have that run, but they're gonna make it. But at one point, I was back in June or July. I was told, oh, in mid-June or whatever, it's gonna become a permanent run. Okay, but here we are in August, and yeah, we're still, oh, it's still temporary. We're still doing this, such, whatever. Okay, So I kind of take him at his word, even though I don't believe a word he says now, And I'm just like, all right, it's like, it makes me, it baffles me, because I don't know what parts of some of, I know there's stuff he tells me that you're like, for instance, like when I'm doing these runs, like the night runs for Chattanooga, and he tells me, oh yeah, you should be up there at 9 o'clock, and, like, okay. But when it comes to like why I'm not on Farina, it's always, well, FedEx changed this, or I don't have a driver to cover the night runs, and I can't put a daytime guy in a night run. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm supposed to be on that run. Like, that's literally the run I was on for over years. Why am I not on that run? Well, got this going on, got that going on. My wife says she's so full of shit. I'm like, well, I was like, I agree, but I'm like, you know what? That's why I joke around about I'm always about, like, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing on the side, because I'm trying to either start making money on the side to give myself options to be able to say, hey, you know what, every 2 months I'm going to take a week off, or 10 days off, or 2 weeks off, or something. And really annoying, because, like, look, like, I'm not on my run. I'm doing this extra physical stuff at night compared to what I normally do, so that John can make more money on my route, because it's a higher mileage route, or whoever's running it. Most of the time I hear it's John, but, Jimmy and John are both really nice guys, but it's like, all right, why, like, what did I do to deserve being pulled off the run? Like, it was very sudden too. It was like I was on it every day, 5 days a week, over a year. Then March, I went away for like 4 days. Didn't just disappear. I put in time off requests a couple weeks ahead of time. It's like, hey, I need to go out of town because we're doing such and such. We're visiting family, and we're picking up my car, and bringing it back. And I came back and everything had changed. And, lately I appreciate, since they've done stuff with whatever they've done with FedEx contracts. At least now it's a little bit more, I'm still working 5 days, but I'm doing shorter runs. Not making quite as much, but at least I'm not sitting, like, not working one night. So this week, literally, like, Saturday I did Knoxville Kodak. Tuesday I did Chattanooga. Tonight I did Chattanooga. Tomorrow, later on today / tomorrow, because it's like 3:40 in the morning when I'm recording this. Who knows? I'm not. It's like I wake up hoping, hey, maybe I'll be doing Farina, but of course, like this morning, I got home at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. I told my wife, I said, I know I'm doing a night run tonight because I won't get hours back till after 4, so I'm not expecting that, even though he's pulled that on me before, where, I ran a night run the night before, and then literally had a text by like 3:45, 4 o'clock that afternoon saying, by the way, you're doing Farina, and so then I was like, well, shit. Took off, basically I was like, well, I just woken up because I got home really late. I was like, well, I'll get out there as soon as I can, and I'm messaging and talking to the team, saying like, I don't know why this, is full of, I don't know why he's doing what he's doing. I did a night run last night, and then he's basically, the big thing between me and the team that we're always like, yeah, why did your boss do that? Is I flip flop back and forth. I do night runs, and then all of a sudden I go from working really late at night to flip flop back to having to be back to the truck by like as close to 3 as I can, which sometimes is like 4 o'clock. And running the daytime run, and then the next day I might be doing Farina again, or I might flip flop back to a night run again, be working all night again. And that's part of why I do what I do on the side, because I'm like, look, like I can't keep flip flopping back and forth. I like, honestly, like, even though I would still use it as an excuse to leave, to get my notice eventually whenever I get stuff going on the side, I can be like, look, I don't have to be doing what I'm doing. I would much rather at least be either nighttime or daytime. Like, don't, but if I were to be permanent on Chattanooga, I would do it for a while I continue working on this stuff on the side. But I wouldn't settle with that. In fact, that would still be one of my reasons for leaving. Would be, look, I took a step back. Like, I was making this many miles, getting paid this much, but now I'm getting paid this much, and it's a kind of like a setback, like a downsize situation, kind of. Be like, I was making this much, get these miles, and then you put me over here, now making less, so now I have to look at other options because I don't ever want to move backwards. I always want to move forwards. That's one of the contractors I left. That's literally what happened. They started adding extra mileage onto my route, and then for whatever reason, the pay went down. So I was adding like an extra 80 or 90 miles a day. So it was like 400. Yeah, it was like 400 something miles for the week. And I went from taking home after taxes and stuff. I think I was taking home like 1,100 per week after taxes, and all of a sudden my take home was like 950. So it was like I lost 150 bucks because FedEx was paying the contractor less for one of the runs, even though I was doing more mileage. FedEx was paying them less for some reason, and so then I was basically getting paid less. And I was like, whoa, I can't, like, that doesn't work for me. I can't do that, you know. I was like, I'll be in orientation with such and such company on Friday. Oh, you're leaving? I'm like, yeah. I was like, I'm not going to put up with that shit. I was like, I am going to always be moving forward, always be continuing to try to make things better. And if I feel like all of a sudden, like, part of the thing with that contractor was I came in around the same time everybody else did, and they were all getting off at like 7 p.m. And because I was working the longer mileage days, I was getting back at like 11. Because I had a couple more stops, I had more miles for the day or whatever. You know, they would literally come in and work 6 hours and be done. I'd come in at like 1:30, and I'd be done like 10:30. You know, get 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, depending on how things went. You know, and I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. I was like, you ever feel like you're moving backwards in your job or whatever? It's like, that's when you want to, okay, I need to look and see what other options are out there. But to get back to the topic at hand tonight, as far as like, do you trust who you work with or work for? And I say work with because technically I don't work for John. John is my boss's assistant, but he'll tell me the same things that my boss, Jimmy, will tell me. And yeah, I hear that he's the one running my route, and I'm like, all right, but is he making more because he's your assistant anyway? Like, he's probably getting paid extra to be your assistant, plus he's getting the mileage pay, whatever. I'm just getting mileage pay, and then recently they took away they were paying, like FedEx pays all the contractors for the holidays. Like, the contractors get bonuses, the companies or whatever. And then a lot of the companies will actually pay, majority of the companies, most, if you know, not all of them, but a lot of them I've heard, will actually pay what they call holiday pay to the drivers. So if the driver, even if the driver doesn't work that day, they still get like a little bit of a bonus, like 150 bucks, 200 bucks. I heard one contractor basically, what I was being told was that when FedEx paid the holiday bonuses, that the actual employer would end up making like 30 grand in bonuses. But when I was with that contractor, they didn't pay us anything for the holidays. Like, if we were off, we just didn't get paid. If we ran, we just got paid the mileage. We didn't get paid. We just got our regular daily pay. We didn't actually get the holiday pay. But yeah, so they were pocketing quite a bit. But my current employer, they recently did away with the holiday pay because they wanted to, well, their reasoning was basically like, well, like, we want to be able to continue offering you guys the 4% match on 401k, which I don't know if that's a good match. That's a good percentage, you know. I'm not currently investing in a 401k, and I've heard it's definitely something you should do, but I always hear, like, you want to get into a match, you know, a situation with an employer where they have a matching 401k, but I'm like, yeah, but if they're only matching 4%, is that actually good? Because to me, I think, all right, for every $100 that I would put in my 401k, my company will contribute $4. And I'm like, that doesn't really sound like a great deal to me. Like, I think I would much rather just decide where I'm going to put my money myself and not worry about the 4% match. I don't know. but they want to continue offering that and the health insurance, which is okay. You know, it's one of those situations where you're paying out a couple $100 a week, but you still have to do like a $6,000 deductible, you know, in order for insurance to actually cover stuff. So I'm going, all right, so we're losing holiday pay, so we can continue having the benefits that aren't really, they're okay. You know, they're not, I'm not saying they're bad. I've had worse benefits, but, you know, and then with my, you know, then the whole dealing with what I'm dealing with the boss and my route, you know, me being like, look, I'm supposed to be on that run. Why am I not on the run? And it's always pushed back. Oh, we're going to be full time. You're going to be back on that run on June 1st. Oh, it's going to be July 1st. So it's mid-July. Oh, now we're working on they're working on the, you know, doing stuff with the contracts in August or whatever. That's when stuff's going to become permanent or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm thinking like, watch, like I almost want to tell my boss not that I'm planning to leave eventually if this keeps up. But, you know, basically be like, kind of give him a deadline, like, look, like, I've given you 6 months, and I'm still not on free to full time again. I'll give you till the end of August, and then at that point, I'm not necessarily going to quit at that point, but I'm just putting you on notice that probably at that point, I will be even more, because I've been looking anyway. I've been kind of looking around, checking things out, whatever. But I was like, basically trying to give them a look. Like I can't keep doing this. Oh, it's gonna happen on this date. It's gonna happen on that date. It's gonna do this. Gonna do this. I'm a loyal employee. That's why I haven't left and got anywhere yet, because I do like what I do. You know, and I'm one of those. I don't like to go and start a new job somewhere else. Like I hate starting over. You know, there's been other situations in my life where technically, like, me and my wife had an issue a couple years back or whatever, and, you know, like, I very well could have left because of it, but instead I thought long and hard about it, you know, like, all right, well, if I leave, I'm literally gonna have to start over, because I probably have to leave and maybe go out to Oklahoma and move with my parents. I'm gonna lose, you know, the availability of being able to see my kids, my grandkid, or whatever on a regular basis. Hell, I even thought about the cats, because for me, we're those kind of people where our pets, like our cats, whenever we eventually have a dog, are fur kids. You know, they're part of the family. You know, like they're not just pets and people. All right, go feed the cats, whatever. You know, no, it's like literally these four-legged companions or whatever. Like we'll be laying there in bed or whatever, and they'll be like, I'll wake up and we have a black cat named Binks that literally I'll wake up and I'll have to be careful when I roll over, because she'll be like right beside me, all curled up. Like if I'm going to move, I don't want to squish her, so I'll grab the blanket on the other side of her and I'll grab it and I'll kind of slide her a little ways away from me, so that way I can then roll over and roll on top of her. Or you'll wake up with like a cat walking across your chest, like purring and forcing their head under your hand, saying, I want attention, Peppy, you know. But I thought about all that. I thought, okay, well, like, how much will I lose if I walk away instead of trying to figure this out, trying to work through this with the wife? So it's like, it's the same thing with the jobs. You know, like, I don't want to necessarily, you know, get into another job, stay local, stay where I'm at currently, and, you know, here in Nashville, and just working a different job on a different route, doing something for someone else. That's why I'm kind of like, you know what, I'm up for a change, but I don't want to just make it a job change while staying where we're at living wise. I want to, you know, do a complete, like, brand new stuff, you know. And based on the way things are going with the stuff I'm working on the side, I can see that I can probably have that accomplished, have us somewhere brand new, getting into a house, whatever, probably within the next 2 years, if everything goes, you know, if I keep, that's the thing, like, I gotta keep doing what I'm doing, working on some of the things I'm working on, because there's gonna be an increase in income, and, you know, in one area, and then, you know, of course, like, working on the books, you know, eventually, like I said, figuring out how to, you know, eventually be able to get, like, advertisements, monetize the podcast and stuff, things that are gonna open doors for me to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna step back from trucking, and I'm gonna be home full time working on all this stuff instead of trying to fit it in with my schedule, you know, which is kind of tough sometimes, but it's weird. Like, I try to, I'm being, I guess revealing a lot about the situation on this episode, which again, like, I highly doubt I'll be surprised if I hear from the bosses or whatever about like, you mentioned us on your podcast. Oh, yeah, I did. You know, like, but I didn't give last names or whatever. Haven't revealed what company I drive for, all that fun stuff. You know, all that. So, but you know, it like I don't reveal that much to him because I'm not gonna say, hey, I'm gonna quit on this date if this doesn't happen, because I don't. You know, it's like if you give your boss kind of a warning ahead of time, saying like, oh, by the way, if this doesn't happen, I'm leaving. All of a sudden, like, you get let go because they find somebody else to take your route. Like with my last company, when I was gonna come over here, still FedEx but different contractor, I decided, I'm gonna go, because I was trying to get, because I had hurt my back, because I had that slip and fall down the stairs because of the ice or whatever. And my last job was in and out of the truck a lot, like 7 loads, 14 trailers. You know, it was tough. It was a pretty. So I decided I had gotten in touch with my current boss about coming over here, and was like, yeah, I'm looking for a dedicated because I can't keep getting out of the truck because, you know, like medically, like it's just rough because I went through such and such. And he's like, yeah, I got the Freedom run, and, you know, I got this run and that run, and I got the Freedom run. You know, it's an Illinois drop and back, whatever. I said, oh, I'll take it. All right, cool. And I gave my last employer, I think I gave them about a week notice, like Monday. I think it was like Monday or Tuesday, and it was less than a week, roughly. I said, yeah, you know, like Friday. So basically, it was kind of like technically like 4-day notice because we're off. It was 5-day work week, off on the weekends, and so it was Tuesday. And I had said like, hey, like I'm just guys giving you. I know it's a little bit short notice, but still want to give you guys some notice. Friday will be my last day. I'm starting orientation. You know, taking a dedicated route or whatever, because medically I need a lot less in and out of the truck, a lot less physical work. And so Friday will be my last day. Literally, I sent that message off to my manager, his boss, and the HR, you know, the lady that does HR or whatever. And I sent that message off, said I really appreciate everything you guys have done. It's been a pleasure working for you guys. You know, it has nothing to do with you. I just like I need to continue moving forward, and I need a dedicated. You know, been talking to them for a while about doing a dedicated. And they were kind of giving me the runaround, like, yeah, we got these 2 dedicated routes, and like you'd be easily making $2,000 per week, but we're waiting. One of those guys will probably quit here in the next 6 months. Of course, it'd been a lot longer. You know, and so I was like, well, I don't think I'm gonna get either of those routes. So like, I need to either stay here and hope that one of them will open up, or just pursue other options, pursue a dedicated line haul stuff myself. So I was trying to be respectful in the message. Like, I really appreciate you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for everything you guys have done. It's been great here, you know. And then like literally, I sent that message off, and I did 2 more loads, and I was on my way back from one of my, I think it was like the second to last load. Still had to do a Lowe's, which is like an hour drive, like an hour drive up, an hour drive back. And I was on my way back with my second to last one from Target, and my manager called and basically said like, yeah, hey, so yeah, we've already got somebody that we're gonna actually put him in your truck, put him on your route. So actually, when you go ahead and get back tonight, just go ahead and just clean out your truck, and, you know, we wish you the best, you know. And I was like, well, Jeff, like, I can work till Friday, you know. Like, he said, no, it's all good, you know. And plus, like, you didn't give 10-day notice, so you're not gonna be able to come back and work for us again or whatever, you know. But you know, we really wish you the best, man. You're a great driver and you're a great worker and stuff. And I was like, so basically, you guys are just like, you terminate employment when somebody doesn't. And he's like, no, we're not terminating you. You gave notice or whatever. You're quitting. And I'm like, yeah, Jeff, but my last day was gonna be Friday. He's like, well, yeah, but, you know, we require 10-day notice, and blah, 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 you know, but we already have this guy just sitting around not doing anything, so, okay. I was like, well, if that's what you got, that's what you know, do what you gotta do. He was like, so I'll go ahead and clean it out. I basically took the rest of that week, basically just home with the fam, and I met up with my current boss, I think it was like Saturday or Sunday. I think it was Saturday. He said, "Hey, you want to meet up out here? I'm out here in Lebanon. You know, got a couple other drivers. That way, you come out and see what like the equipment we use." You know, I was like, "All right, cool." Came out there, talked to him. Literally, like we had two guys that were doing road tests. I basically went from, you know, was driving with one carrier to driving for another carrier, and I had already done doubles, so you know, I didn't have to. That's one of the good memories I have of working where I'm at. Is like when I first came on board, they were doing road tests with him and with those guys. And I was literally just for like a couple hours just standing around talking to the boss, you know, just shooting the shit back and forth. And it was like, and then we each got paid $250 orientation pay for that day. And I'm like, I didn't do shit. I was literally just standing there talking. So that's pretty cool, you know. But then if you have like current situations, you know, where you're being told, you know, it's one of those things like as far as the topic at hand, the can you trust who you work for and stuff. When I know for a fact by talking to the team that my route is running at the time that it normally runs, like between 2 and 3, and yet for whatever reason I'm waking up and finding out, oh yeah, you're working at 9 o'clock tonight, you're doing an overnight run, and I'm like, yeah, but like why am I not on Farina? Oh yeah, such dedicated have to be covered. I'm like, yeah, but that one's dedicated too. Like why don't you put John or James or whoever else you haven't run Farina make the mileage? Why don't you put them on that run and have me doing Farina like I'm supposed to do? So it aggravates me a little bit. I'm a little I wouldn't go as far as to say pissed off, but you know, I'm very heavily annoyed. And so when I'm out here doing like the current route, which is not a bad run, like Chattanooga, it's an easy trip. You know, it's like Interstate 24 all the way over to where 75 goes south, and then 75 goes north, and then you go up like 8 miles, and that you're there. So it's an easy run. I don't even use GPS for it because I've done it enough. But it's still like, yeah, but I know this is less mileage than what I'd get if I was doing my regular run. And so my paycheck's down and whatever. It's like, all right, you know what? So one of the things I do though, because it's like one of those, especially if you're a driver out there, you know what I'm talking about, where you might have a day off, like let's say you work a 5-day week and you have 2 days off, and they try to call it, or you get home after, you know, with still some hours in your time, and your boss tries to call, or the company tries to call you back in. You're like, hey, we have this load needs to be covered. It's like, I literally just went to bed. It's like, well, so then you get dinged for a refusal because you refuse a load. Like, look, like I just got done with my normal stuff. I got home, took a shower, I'm in bed. I had a driver telling me about like that his company keeps getting refusals and he has to challenge them and get them reversed. And I told him, I said, you know what you gotta do? He's like, what? I'm like, just don't answer the fucking phone. I was like, you know, even though, yeah, I've been outspoken about that to a couple drivers, what are they gonna do? Like say, well, we know you're deliberately not answering the phone. I'll prove it. Like, yeah, I've talked about it, but you can't prove that I saw that call. You can't prove that I do your best. You like, you know, just like if a driver, like if you get delayed out here, it's pretty easy for them to say, hey, what happened? Like you took an extra hour to get here. Oh, I ran into traffic. They can't prove that it didn't happen. And most of the time that is the case. Most of the time, you know, you might have hit traffic. Like tonight, on my way to Chattanooga, they closed down one of the lanes, so we were going slow for probably about, I would say probably about 40 minutes. And so when I do Chattanooga lately, it's like I can usually get there about 1:15. Get the trailers dropped, get hooked up back to my dolly, pull around to the front, take my food inside, heat it up, hit the bathroom, come back around, and that's why I bring my computer with. Lately, I bring my computer with me so that I can, you know, like if I have like 40 minutes, like if I get in front of one of my trailers and waiting for them to be done so I can start setting them up, and it's like 1:10, 1:15, or not like 2:10, 2:15. I know that usually it's after 3 Eastern time when they get us loaded. Sometimes it's been 3:45. So I bring my computer with me lately with the intent, like, look, I know I'm gonna have some downtime. I'm gonna try to get there as early as I can, so that way I can eat, hit the bathroom, and then I can get my computer out. And I kind of try to get what I can done, a little bit of extra stuff added to my book. You know, continuing to try to move forward. You know, because dealing with what I'm dealing with, job, I'm telling myself I don't want to be doing this for the next 30 years. But I don't want to be one of those that is saying like, well, someday it's gonna happen. Someday I'm gonna get in this situation. Someday finances are gonna be amazing. Someday I'm gonna have a house. Someday I'm gonna, have a lot of money in the bank, whatever, and be able to travel the world or whatever. Because unless we take action with it, someday is basically always just going to be someday, sadly. And so now there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing that I'm still trying to figure certain things out, like with the, trying to figure out how to get advertisements or, monetize the podcast, because I would love to be, like I said, love to be a full-time podcaster, full-time entrepreneur. Work from home, not have to, basically be home full time with the fam and not have to stress about like, well, this week am I going to do the route I'm supposed to do, or am I going to be doing the night runs again? But I know I kind of went a little bit into, your boss tries to call you in, and that was kind of a reason for that was like, I've had multiple weeks where I'm doing these night runs, getting to like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Hell, Father's Day, I think I got home, because I think my daughter had to work, so I got home at like 7 or 8, and she was already at work. My youngest was upstairs, my grandson was still asleep. So I stayed up, and basically was watching him until early afternoon. Went to bed for about 4 or 5 hours, about like 2 o'clock. I think I got up at like 7:30, and my wife was passed out because she works mornings, so of course, like, she comes up to take a nap, sometimes just conk out for the rest of the night. So she was out. My oldest, my grandson's mom, she was completely out. Or actually, I think her and Salix and her and the grandson were in the game room, playing games, and he was on his little tablet or whatever. And so me and my youngest, we went out and got some Bojangles chicken sandwiches, which if you've never tried those, is freaking awesome. But I came back, and basically it was just me that night, just kind of hanging out, watching Netflix. I think, because working on stuff, whatever, but hanging out, enjoying my drinks or whatever. But literally when I was at went across the street to the liquor store to get my stuff for my 2 days off, I'm literally looking at, like, you're grabbing the, like, Mike's Harder, getting a margarita mix and stuff, and I get a text from my boss. Like, I had literally just been home since like 10 o'clock in the morning. Hey, any chance you can run a load tonight? Why? Well, we had so called out, like, they literally just called about a Knoxville, like, you want to go to Knoxville tonight? And I'm like, no, not really. Why are you, I was like, boss, I literally just got home at 10 o'clock this morning. Today's technically my day off. Like, why are he's like, well, they just called with the Knoxville, and I'm just trying to find somebody to do it. I was like, well, honestly, like, I've only had like 4.5, 5 hours of sleep. I really don't think it's a good idea for me to come in right now. Well, it would be right now. It'd be a little bit later. I'm like, still, like, I've been up all night. Went to sleep at like 2 or 3. Got up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I was like, it's probably not a good idea for me to be in the truck right now. Okay. But it was like, you just shake your head. You're like, you know what? Like, especially with me doing what I'm currently doing, instead of doing my normal route, losing miles, losing money. It's like, I feel like I try to be, as an employee, I've always tried to be as dependable as possible. Like, I don't call out. Hell, I've worked with a broken wrist. When I was working for Publix, like, had a little fall. I had a little stupid. That was just a stupid incident. With Publix, I went to do my daughter's birthday party or whatever at one of these trampoline places where they got all the trampolines all lined up together and you can jump from one to the other. I was doing a Facebook Live on the trampoline, and I went to jump from one trampoline to the next while holding the phone in my right hand live on video, and of course trying to kind of pay attention to where I was going, and going between one trampoline and the next and not watching my footing. My foot caught, and I literally went down like face first onto the mat, which the fall itself didn't hurt, but I still had the phone in my hand, and of course that phone, that hand went down on the mat too, and I didn't think anything of it. I thought I was fine until like literally the next day I wake up and my whole wrist was like swollen, and it hurt like a freaking B word. Hurt like hell. Let's put it like that. So I went in and had it checked out. I don't even think I went and got an X-ray, but basically, because they put an order in there for like, hey, do you want to go get an X-ray? But of course, I had no health insurance. I'm like, yeah, but how much is that? Oh, it's only gonna be like a couple $100. I'm like, yeah, I can't afford that. I was like, Publix doesn't pay me shit. I can't be getting. But he's like, yeah, it's probably broken. At the very least, a hairline fracture. But I'd recommend just like ice it, wear a brace. And I'm like, okay. So I was going to work with a brace, still lifting heavy stuff at work with both hands, do the best I could. Thankfully with the brace, it would stabilize your hands, so that way, even if you lifted something heavy, you could technically do it because it's not forcing you're not having to use your strength on your wrist to, basically lift whatever you're lifting. So it was like, but just never called out. I think I might have called out one day because I woke up and the pain was just so extreme that I was like, I can't. When you're not a crier, but you're going through something where like the pain is like that. They say, what's your pain level at a 1 through 10? You're like, probably 35. Then they give you medication to like help, and it's like brings it down from 35 to an 18, but it's still like, oh my God. So, like I said, with my current job, I've called out one time is because everybody came down with the flu. I literally got halfway to Farina, and I could tell it was coming on. It was like, your mouth's watering, and you basically you get that feeling, and I'm sure a lot of you you're probably aware of what I'm talking about, but you get that feeling where like even if you're sipping water or you're eating, like that you're maybe not digesting everything, like you're drinking water, and instead of feeling like, hey, I drink some water, and a little bit later, hey, I need to drink some more water, you're feeling like you got that slosh feeling, like if you move, you feel a little in your stomach, you're like, it feels uncomfortable. So I think I made it to Farina, and I heated up my food, forced myself to eat, and I made it back to Nashville, and I managed to get myself to bed all without, having any issues. I could tell I was really sick, but I managed to keep it under control because wife and daughters will both be in the bathroom all day or whatever. Me, I'll just force I've been lucky, for years, just being able to force myself to like stay in bed or whatever. Daughter's like, how the hell do you keep that under control? And you're not in the bathroom. I'm like, I don't know. Mind over matter? I was like, so, but that next morning after getting a little bit of sleep, still feeling sick the next day a little bit, feeling better, but still not feeling like I could do her out. I messaged my boss and asked him, hey, do you happen to have somebody who could run Farina today because the whole family is sick with the flu today? And he was like, yeah, I got you. I'll call him. All right, cool. I was like, but we'll be back at it tomorrow. He was like, copy that. But, aside from that, like year and a half working here, and yet trying to done whatever I could to be dependable and always here, even though like I'm running routes that are not technically I'm supposed to be on a different route. But yeah, I'm here. That's why I said like at the very least I look forward to having the finances change to the point where I'll at least be taking more vacations and he gets to do it. Like, hey boss, I need to request 2 or 3 weeks out. Hey, I need to I'm gonna need to request 2 weeks off in the next 3 weeks. And do that fairly often to where they get annoyed, like, Chris is always taking time off. I'm like, yeah, but I give you guys a couple weeks notice like I'm supposed to. And, you don't have me on my route like I'm supposed to be, so I don't feel bad about basically saying, you know what, I'm going to take some time off for me. I'm going to focus on myself, travel with the fam, come back, work another month or so, take another 2 weeks off. But anyway, guys, I know I've been going for a while on this episode, and That's why, I was trying to hold off on that bonus episode, trying not to say too much about this topic as far as the trust, can you trust you work for? Because I had planned I kind of had planned ahead to go ahead and have that be the topic of discussion for this episode. So I hope you got some value out of it. I hope you got a kick out of parts of it and stuff. But again, I apologize about the fact that I've had weeks where I disappeared, but always know that I'm never going to go anywhere. I will always, even if I have a week where I just disappeared for whatever reason, usually it's because I'm just dealing with stuff, trying to get my head back in the game, whatever. But eventually, I know with me practicing what I preach to you guys about keep on pushing forward, keep believing, refusing to give up, because we only fail if we quit, give up and walk away, that eventually I will, the Blodgett Show will be a successful and monetized podcast. I'll be making a good income with the online digital businesses that I currently am doing, and I will be a published author. So I'll basically be. I know things will be good eventually. It's just a matter of I just got to keep my head in the game and keep doing it. Keep working towards it. Keep doing what I'm doing, and eventually I know I'll get there. So, but as I always say, keep on pushing forward. Keep believing. Believe you can. Believe you will. You're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. To get a couple of the usual advertisements out there. But again, if you guys are looking for a great, amazing podcast, please do check out a podcast called What Was That Like? With the host, Scott Johnson, and a good friend of his, Meredith, who does a podcast called Meredith for Real, The Curious Introvert. Both amazing podcasts. And also, if you like hip-hop, check out my bro Rico's podcast. Go to blodgettshow.com/Rico, RICCO. He talks about basically the history of hip-hop and has a lot of cool things he talks about or whatever. One of these days, I actually have been wanting to figure out how I might be able to start having actual interviews, conversations on Real Talk Tuesday instead of just me talking. So that way, spice it up a little bit, maybe change it up, make things a little bit more unique, a little different. I always, how it is, always trying to move this podcast forward, always trying to figure out ways to make it better. So blodgettshow.com/Rico. For anybody who wants to learn how to start growing your following, how to start figure out how to start earning online if you've never earned before, if it's something that you've had a desire to do, want to start learning, whatever, go to blodgettshow.com/freedom. Put in your email address and reply back to my email with any questions you have. But basically, a couple different programs that we offer, anywhere from $100 to $900, where you get access to community, you get step-by-step training, and it's really cool. There's a lot of valuable information, and you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So you get to earn while you learn, and basically it's all about being consistent. Like, you want to, even if you take some time off with whatever you're doing, whether it's a book, whether it's business, podcast, you can take a step back and take some time to breathe, and then you just don't want to quit. You want to get back into it and keep working on it. So if you can do what you're doing every day and keep at it, and even with not having the results that you want, but keep doing it every day, and eventually it's gonna get you where you want to go. But you just gotta keep going. So on the notes of trying to all the big plans for this podcast and stuff, obviously, like I mentioned in the bonus episode, one of the weeks when I was AWOL from you guys was mainly because I had to get the podcast hosting bill paid, and of course I had to wait until payday or whatever. So if anybody wants to help the show, help support the show, which not only help the expenses with being able to keep the podcast up and running, but also help me to be able to plan for things like merch, t-shirts, coffee mugs, one of the future plans for the podcast, whatever. Go to blodgettshow.com/support, And you can do anything from as low as like a $1 one-time donation to a $1 per month, $5 per month, whatever you want to do. You can customize it and do whatever works for you guys. And of course, as always, I appreciate it. Thank you so much in advance. Pretty sure that's. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else that I'm forgetting. And of course, I think I've covered everything. Watch, I'm gonna end. We'll end the episode. And I'll be like, crap. So, but on that note, keep doing what you're doing. Never give up. And I hope that these little cluster of episodes, all done in one day, I hope, it was my way of, apologizing for my absence and trying to give you guys a couple of, like, especially that bonus episode. I didn't intend for it to be 40 or so minutes long. I'm kind of like, hey, I'll do like 15-20 minutes, kind of leading into the next two Real Talk, belated Real Talk episodes, but then it ended up being 40 minutes. I was like, oh crap. So anyway, you guys, I hope everybody has a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you again at the very latest, hopefully on the next Real Talk Tuesday episode. On that note, keep being awesome, and I will talk to you then. Have a good one.